Welcome to the Freshman Podcast. It's your boy Jay Fresh. Up top, we have Ye, also known as Yeski. It's been a while. Houston, we have a problem. Give you guys a little appetizer. I know we've been going for a while, so let's get to it. So there's been a lot of trade rumors surfacing coming out of Houston. We have Russ wanting out, and now we've been hearing rumors of Harden on the trading block as well. So let's start with Russ. Where do we think would be a good landing spot for Russ?
Well, with Houston basically looking like they're trying to rebuild, Russ can really, in all honesty, land anywhere. The only things I really have been hearing was teams that's not even like really playoff bound. Like I've heard New York, I've heard I heard Jordan wants him in Charlotte. Like it's been a lot of teams that has not been playoff bound or on their way to the playoffs. And like how old is Westbrook? Like 30?
I think 31 or 32.
Yeah, he's a little too old to just be going for 8th seeds and 9th seeds and 10th seeds. Like in my idea, he should be going to at least a playoff contending team. I don't know. I think maybe
not to jump ahead, but you mentioned as far as him being up in age and trying to not necessarily fight for the 8th seed, I kind of feel like Chris Paul's in the same boat. But we're going to discuss that coming up. But I feel like that's one and the same. But my take on it is I have a destination that was talked about before Houston. And, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have enough cap space for it, but I think a good landing spot if Goran Dragic doesn't re-sign is Miami. You got shooters around him. You got Jimmy. Hey, buy into the Miami way.
No, that's.
I mean, they were right there. I'm not saying that Russ is going to be a difference in him winning a championship or not, but I feel like Russ is best when he's surrounded with shooters that he can drive and kick. And I mean, you got Duncan, you got Tyler. I mean, Jimmy's obviously not a shooter, but I mean, I think they could find a way for that to make it to work as far as plan wise. Now, as far as salary wise and cap space, I don't know if it's realistically possible at this point, but I mean,
two killers
on
one
place that I kind of had in mind.
Jimmy Westbrook, that's a nice combination. Yeah, especially if Dragic don't come back, then hopefully they'll still have Kendrick coming off the bench for them. So Westbrook will be they starting PG. So if Dragic doesn't come back, then it would be nice. I mean, especially I know they're trying to get back to the championship anyway. So I mean, they can keep all their pieces or whatever as much as they can, then it could be possible. Was he only getting traded, or did he have a buy-in option or opt-out? Or was it just trades?
No, I think it's just a trade, but I know his contract. Him and Chris Paul both had those crazy contracts, so that's why I kind of worked with those two. So, but before he got traded to Houston, they were talking about Miami before. So I mean, hey,
we'll see.
They still need a point guard,
but I know they're gonna be. Him and Harden is going before the season.
Yeah,
it's a wrap.
Yeah, especially after today. They said that Harden reportedly turned down a $50 million a year extension. Now, I don't know what was the length of the contract, but if you turn down $50 million a year, you leaving.
You don't plan on coming.
You definitely leaving. Yeah, you don't want to be there anymore. But moving along, let's go ahead and talk about Harden. There's been a few rumors. The earliest one, I think, was Philadelphia and him reuniting with the GM Daryl Morey, who was with the Rockets last season. I think that trade was including one of your favorite players.
Look. In the East, I mean, I can't even say that because the East is the way they trying to shake up things now. The East is getting tougher, so
yeah.
I mean, it gives Embiid more freedom, I guess, to
Mm-hmm.
not just stand outside and shoot threes all day. Like he can play in the post more since you got Harden at the
Mm-hmm.
point being able to stretch the floor from wherever he's at. But I don't think it would be anything serious. I still see a potential first to second round exit, even with Harden. I don't really see it really doing too much for them, especially with the East getting deeper or trying to get deeper. I still see first round, second round possibles.
Yeah.
Um, but hey,
I think that wouldn't be a bad big three. Embiid, Harden, and Tobias. I think Tobias is underplayed over the past few seasons, but he's had seasons, and I'm not gonna say season, maybe a season with the Clippers where he was on that brink of being an All-Star. So I mean,
yeah, he had a couple good seasons
possibility.
with Orlando. I think he was averaging near
Yeah.
20 something. So
Mm-hmm.
he's a solid player. I mean, I think last year he gave somebody like 40 plus last year, I believe. So it's capable. But the other move that we've been hearing recently would be the biggest.
You already know how I feel about this one. You already know how I feel about this one.
Harden to the Nets.
Yeah, man. Harden, KD, and Kyrie.
I heard, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't see all the intangibles, but I think it was Spencer Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, maybe like a first round, and I think possibly Karras.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought Karras was kind of like the centerpiece of that trade.
Yeah, Karras was like the centerpiece of that trade with that. So, I mean, they're giving up a lot to gain a lot more. So, with you got Kyrie, Harden, and KD on the court at one time, and you still get to keep Jared Allen at the center position.
Yeah.
You get to keep Joe Harris being able to stretch the floor.
Well, right now he's a free agent, so they gotta re-sign him first. Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, they gaining a lot. I mean, in that situation, it's nothing you could do with that starting lineup. I mean, as we can see,
that's a win. That's a win now team.
Yeah, that's the win as soon as possible. Like the Lakers did it with having in my eyes, a horrible bench. So even if they has a subpar bench, all three of them giving you 30, 40, 50.
They just need some decent role players in a sense. Joe Harris, a guy to space the floor, and probably a defender, because I'm not gonna lie, all three of them are probably terrible home ball defenders. I think KD is a good help defender, but I mean, I give a little credit to Harden. He tried to kind of step up in the playoffs, but still, it was an upgrade from what we've seen in the past, but it wasn't like A1 top of the line NBA defense. So I mean,
if
definitely
you
have to find some defenders to go along with that.
Saying the two, like Brooklyn is a potential Eastern Conference Finals team, and if you throw Harden in that, it's a possible Finals win with throwing Harden in that. So that's a big step for them. I mean, I know Kyrie and KD got confidence, like, they're gonna win it. But I mean, if you look at the team right now, especially with some of the players opting in and out and going shipping different places, they're Eastern Conference Finals team. But can they beat anybody from the West? It's possible, but James Harden basically guarantees you, like, all right, it's definitely a possible championship.
Yeah. Obviously, barring no injuries, I mean, that team, that big three right there is solid. But we're not going to get too deep on that one because we still don't really know much of the particulars on that trade. I mean, it's kind of Harden did come out and say after he declined the $50 million a year extension that Brooklyn was a trade destination for him. But let's stay on the East. Let's head over to your Milwaukee Bucks. They made some noise today. They
Yes,
acquired Jrue Holiday,
I'm
gave up
actually
Bledsoe, and not I want to call him Jordan Hill, not Jordan Hill.
George Hill. Yeah,
There we go. There we go. I had a little lapse. So yeah, Jrue Holiday basically for George Hill and Eric Bledsoe. How do you feel about that?
George Hill would have been nice to keep on the bench, but I mean, it seems like from last year they plan on making DiVincenzo like the starting backup.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying this for like the last year or two. Bledsoe is very inconsistent on offense. Very, very inconsistent. Like if Giannis is, I mean, we know Giannis is going to be Giannis, but Bledsoe is one of the keys to keeping the tempo and pushing for them. I mean, he's up and down, and if he's inconsistent with that, it's kind of hard for Giannis to get easy buckets. So you got Jrue coming in, who has been consistent his whole career. It really hasn't been a drop off. Like, you know what you're getting from him. You're getting at least 16 to 18 and possibly 5 and 6 a game. You know what I'm saying? So
now I know you ride with the Bucks, but I feel like that was a little bit of that slander was kind of biased. But from an outside looking in, if you want to talk about inconsistency, you got to talk about why do I keep
Middleton,
blanking? Chris Middleton, man.
yeah, yes,
He had some moments where it was just like, this is an all-star, and the other moments like, okay, I see it, but he
definitely.
has to come with it, especially in the playoffs. You got to come with it. You can't have no nights off.
You cannot. I was gonna bring him up, but I know he wasn't in the trade. But it's like if Giannis has a bad game, then you have to rely on Chris Middleton. If Middleton has a bad game, then we're relying on Bledsoe. And if you have one of those players playing good out of the three, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And Middleton is really the only consistent shooter out of them. So getting Jrue Holiday being a point to be able to stretch the floor and create his own shot is very big in my idea for Giannis. I feel like just that they have got better than last year. I feel like they could have used Jrue versus the Heat in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Better than Bledsoe could have, you know. And they got rid of two, I think it was 2 first-round picks and the 2 possibles.
Okay.
They didn't really – it's not like those picks was going to do anything for us. I mean, the Bucks are really in the mode where they're trying to win now, especially not knowing if Giannis is going to come back or not. So they trying to do everything possible to be able to win now, because if Giannis doesn't come back, that's a wrap. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So where do you see them being in, like, as far as standards in the East? Just a quick prediction, like top 3, top 2.
I still think they're going to be top 3. Still top 3.
Okay.
If the East plan way is going to plan out, you still got to take into consideration, like I said, the Heat, and then with the Nets coming back. So that's your possible 3 teams in the East right there automatically. So
yeah, we'll get to it in another episode. But as far as the playoffs went, I think you and Maine kind of got to put a little bit of respect on my predictions. You know, for my finals pick from the East, and also I told you guys don't sleep on the Magic winning the game. And y'all told me, sweet. It wasn't a sweet. And I told y'all, Sean don't listen, but moving on. Let's go ahead and head out to the West, man. I feel like Houston has a problem, and OKC has just gone into full rebuild mode, shipping out 2 of their top 3 scorers, or honestly, 2 of the top 3 players on their roster last year. We'll start off with the more blockbuster trade of 2. CP3 to the Suns, man. Like, we heard he was gonna get moved to a team. We heard L.A., Phoenix did come up. They even talked about him going to New York as well. But man, uh, a blockbuster trade to say the least. So we have CP3 and Abdul Nader to Phoenix, and OKC received Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Jalen LeCue, Ty Jerome, and they get the 25th and 28th pick in the draft. Like, man, draft pick on top of draft picks, man, crazy.
Yeah. OKC has a lot of draft picks. I had a feeling when CP3 came over to them that they was gonna get rid of him.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be right away. I didn't think he
I
was gonna
thought
actually play
right away, but they let it stay. But I figured that they was gonna get rid of him. But after the season that he had with them, I was like, you know what? They might just keep him after the season that they had.
Yeah.
But I had seen this coming. Did I see him going to Phoenix? No, not at all.
I really thought he was gonna wind up in LA. I feel like when they tried to get him there, was it Kobe and Paul, or was that Kobe and Dwight? I think it was Kobe and Paul. Right?
Kobe and
Was it Kobe?
Dwight,
was it
actually.
Kobe and Dwight?
Kobe,
it was
Dwight.
Kobe and Dwight.
They ended up getting
denied that one, so I just
yeah.
I just figured they're like, you know what, we'll let you go ahead and have it this time, get them there. But it's just that contract. You see, they had to give up like almost 4 players. I mean,
yeah, they had to give up
a lot. 4 players and then 4 players and 2 picks to get him and Nader. So I mean, like,
yeah, I see.
Because he had signed that massive contract.
I see OKC getting rid of. I can see them getting rid of Rick Rubio. I can see them using Steven Adams now and possibly Gallinari. It might be a whole retooling, especially with Shea being the point guard of the future for them, him being young.
But I figured they might actually keep Rubio. I think Jerome will probably be on maybe like one of those 2-way with the OKC Blue, as well as Jalen LeCue. I think they both might do the whole.
We know there. Him and we know Kelly is there. That's kind of automatic.
Oh yeah. They're not straight to Oubre, but it'd be interesting to see what that starting lineup would look like. You know, because they kind of had Shea playing more like the 2. You know what I mean, with Chris Paul, obviously. But I really hope that he did pick up some stuff from Chris Paul, mentoring wise, in that season, and he can use going forward. I mean, like, Shea was a solid player on the Clippers, you know, without CP3. So, you know, I hope to see a leap in his game next season, you know.
Now, what does this do for Phoenix? 8th seed? 7? I mean,
people are saying they're a playoff team now, but the West is just so deep. I mean, okay, we're saying Houston's getting blown up. So, okay, that's one team off the board. But I mean, I know Phoenix had a nice little run in the bubble, but I mean, New Orleans is coming. Dallas isn't going anywhere.
It's kind of hard.
Are still going to be there.
You know, it's kind of hard for me to say that CP3 and Devin Booker and Aiden is not a playoff team when CP3 just took OKC there. So it's kind of hard for me to say that, especially with the possibility of Houston falling off. You got Dallas, who lost Porzingis. There's no telling when he's actually coming back, and that just leaves Luka. So in my eyes, if those two happen, those are 2 teams that are going out of the playoffs. That was in the playoffs last year.
But the way I look at it, though, as far as like with OKC, they still had some veterans on that team that's kind of have been there. And I say this all the time. People sleep on Gallinari. Gallinari is a hooper. I mean, like, obviously he's not like a superstar, but that's a solid player. So you had Gallinari. I mean, Steven Adams is always going to get you double-digit rebounds a game. And then Schroeder, he played. I guess you want to say he had a breakout season, but he was in the running for 6th man of the year. So you had solid pieces on the squad. I mean, obviously, Chris Paul is gone and Schroeder is gone. So, but we'll get to that one next. But yeah, so they had veterans there. So
we'll see. This is D Book's opportunity to say that he finally has somebody or something help him out. So
yeah, but I feel like they're just gonna need more. The West is just so deep. I mean, everybody's basically retooling and trying to get upgrades and stack up. I mean,
but this is the start. This is a start for them. So
yeah. Yeah, it's just I feel like it's just tough for young players because when you get in these certain situations and you haven't necessarily been there, it's hard. Uh, kind of a very point, but still kind of on topic. Uh, a slight correlation. I just think about like Boston versus the Heat in the playoffs. Honestly, were the Heat the more talented team, or is it just they had veterans that been there and they've been there before? And Boston, I mean, they have a couple veterans, but their main guys are all pretty young. Tatum's young, Brown's young. So I mean,
yeah,
sometimes having some type of veteran leadership goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. The Heat had the more experience in that situation. So I mean, we'll see. Hopefully CP3 lead. Can lead them to something.
But on the other note, OKC does have one veteran coming in. Now, will he stick around? We don't know. So in the other trade, we have Dennis Schroeder to the Los Angeles Lakers for Danny Green and 2 first-round draft picks. I want to say without a doubt, the Lakers won this trade. Danny Green performance in the bubble playoffs was mediocre to say the least. But I don't know. I really can't kill the man because essentially the man's been on. I don't know how many rings he has, but he has 2 of the last. Yeah, he has champions from the last 2 years. He has a ring with Toronto, and now he has a ring with the Lakers.
He has 3 rings.
Yeah, he has 3.
Spurs. I believe he got one with the Spurs.
I thought he won multiple with the Spurs. He only won one with the Spurs.
I think it was only one.
I thought he won multiple.
It could have been.
Well, he has back-to-back rings, so I really can't down the man too much. But yeah, in my opinion, Schroeder was playing lights out. Like I said, he was in running for 6 man of the year last year. Some of those some of the games against Houston in the playoffs, even though they did ultimately wind up getting knocked out, he was hitting some timely, just crazy shots, 3-pointers, getting in the lane and finishing. And I don't think Rondo's going to resign to LA, and that's kind of what they were kind of lacking in a sense, was kind of outside scoring and a point guard that can play make and necessarily get their own bucket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Lakers won in this one. I mean, they said the Lakers have been looking for ISO scorers now, more or less. Like I said, I've heard talks of Derrick Rose going there, Karis LeVert, like all ISO can get their own shot type of players.
Yep. And last season they were talking about Collison. I think it was another guy. It was another guy they had mentioned, but yeah, Collison was on the table.
ISO ball players, so it'd take the load off AD and LeBron. But with they needed this trade because Rondo's not re-signing. Rondo opted out. Caldwell Pope opted out. AD opted out.
Yeah, but we know AD's coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if Caldwell Pope comes back as well. You know, I think they're all under Clutch Sports, aka LeBron.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they all opted out. It seemed like literally all of them are trying to go for their max potential deal as possible.
Yeah, and with the CBA being up in the air and everything going on due to the pandemic, I don't think it's a good idea to necessarily go for just a max this year. Obviously, AD, I think his best bet is to do like maybe a 1-1 or a 2-1 with a player option, but I guess Kyle will Pope get what you can.
But yeah, get rid of
man.
I guess it relieves a lot off their show. I really don't understand it because he's always been a pretty, I'm gonna say clutch performer in playoffs and in season period. It's just like this year, it was just like, nope, I don't want to play. Like, and I can't blame it on LeBron because he's played with Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Parker, all them guys, Kawhi. So he's played with nothing but great players his whole career. So he's used to the limelight to a certain degree. So, but with the performance that he had last year, I kind of figured he was going to be out the door.
Yeah.
I kind of figured that.
It could be just playing in the bubble. Different for a lot of guys.
That's true. That is very true. But he even had a bad season to start off.
Yeah.
So, but them getting Dennis Schroeder is big. Very, very big for him.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just see how all of this goes down. I guess some of these trades going to be finalized. I guess CP3 trade was finalized. Was the Dennis trade able to be finalized yet?
No, it won't. It won't get traded. Get finalized until Wednesday when the Lakers make the 22nd pick. Make that trade.
Okay.
Who it was? I think Milwaukee's is going to be finalized. And the CP3 trade won't be able to be finalized until Wednesday either.
Okay.
So those will all be happening after draft or during the draft.
Yeah. Well, hopefully all these trades hold up and the NBA approves them and we don't see like what happened to Chris Paul before. Oh, you're going to LA and it doesn't happen.
Then it doesn't happen.
We'll see.
All of these happen.
I think it'll be a lot more trades on draft night, and if not in the next 48 hours, leading up to it. So we'll definitely be on the lookout. But yeah, that's all we have today, guys. Had to give you guys a little appetizer. I know we've been going for a while. We're definitely going to do a recap of the playoffs and the finals. I kind of had to gloat. I picked the Miami Heat to make it there out the East, gotta talk my shit a little bit.
You can have that. You can have that. I ain't gonna say much, man. You know what? I'm not even gonna speak on my Bucks this year. I ain't even gonna say nothing, man. I'm gonna wait until all these deals finalize, see what we do, see how we revamp things. But
I appreciate you not being a sore loser.
But you can have it. I'm a little salty.
Oh, man.
I'm a little hurt, but
hey, man, it's always next season, right? You got to keep telling yourself.
I said it was questionable at the start, but I still want to rock my book. So, but we forgot. One last thing. It don't have to be long, but we're Rob leaving Houston.
Oh, okay, yeah. Houston traded Robert Covington to the Portland Trailblazers for Trevor Ariza.
And first,
were there any picks or anything else involved?
It was a 2020 first round pick. Oh, their 16th overall pick, and then a future pick. So, as you can see, Houston is completely done with the Harden days and the Westbrook days.
As we titled the episode, Houston, we have a problem. Since it was a possibility this was the last time we'll probably see Russ in the Rockets jersey, I had to go ahead, represent. You know what I'm saying? Represent for the game. One time for the one time.
Houston is over.
But you know what, though? Like I said, we don't get too deep into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see that 16th pick going to the Nets. Might be packaged with that trade. Harden in the pick.
It could possibly be. It could be possible. This just shows me like players have a lot of control nowadays. Because once Harden said, "Nah, I'm done," and then once Westbrook was like, "Well, man, I'm done," deals.
But you know what though? Like you said, we don't get too deep into it, but when it first came out that Russ wanted out, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we said they can play this, that, and the third." But in my mind, I kind of was like, you know what? Maybe with him and Harden being boys, Harden might have said, "Hey, fam, I'm leaving. You know, if you want to stay, you can stay. If not, request you a trade. Go ahead, get up out there." Gave him the common courtesy. So I don't necessarily think that it was just like Russ being disgruntled and I want to play on the ball, this, and the third. James probably, "Hey, fam, I'm out of here. If you want to stay and this be your team, that's cool. If you want to get up out of here, that's cool too." So, that's why I look at it. But when it first came out that Russ wanted to trade, I was just like, I don't think he's just necessarily just leaving for the hell of it. I think it was something deeper. And then next thing we know, Harden wants out. So I wasn't surprised by it.
I feel like the Blazers definitely took this one. It's just honestly, Covington is nothing but literally a younger Trevor Ariza in my eyes, for the most part. It's really a young Trevor Ariza. So that helps them.
He definitely outplayed he outplayed expectations in the bubble for sure. So
yeah, that's their 3-and-D guy.
Hats off to him.
So
yeah, especially if he doesn't have to play center. So
yeah,
that'd be good for him to play in position.
I think that was all the trade news tonight.
Yeah, like I said, the next 48 hours we're gonna hear a lot more, and definitely more on draft night. I won't be surprised if we see some players picked and traded around. So we'll see. But that's all we got today for the Freshman Podcast, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and look forward for more episodes coming soon. Like I said, we're going to do a recap of the playoffs and the finals, and we're going to have a draft recap. So be on the lookout for that. And we are out.